So it is 222.
222.
222 that
Richie Beno
used to say. Is what India has managed. What a knock there by Ruturaj Gaikwad. But the biggest question, I mean, we'll get into the details. Glenn Maxwell bowls last over, an off spinner when they had Kane Richardson had an over left. Stoinis had not bowled at all in the entire innings. And then you give it to an off spinner. And that too, by the way, at that time you knew that Ruturaj was going to take strike. Even if you were going to bowl it for Tilak, assuming lefty. You knew Ruturaj was going to be taking strike. Last ball he took 2 runs, Tilak. He was going to be taking strike and Australia decided no. Maxi, you take the ball, bowl the last over, give them a gift of 30 runs. What could have been 190 is now gone on to become 220. Not 190, would have been 200 if a fast bowler bowled. 200 has now become 222, which could be, by the way, the difference between winning and losing. This is a small ground, high scoring ground. We mentioned it right at the start. At 200, you could have fancied yourself to chase it down. 220, I mean, you should want to attempt it, but looks much tougher. And so, all down to that one decision. So, I don't know, maybe there is some other cricketing sense which I'm not seeing. Maybe folks with me here can help me.
It looked like a decision that was taken on vibes, honestly.
What vibes?
Just vibes. Just vibes.
But what vibes are these?
That's my point. Just vibes. It's just, okay, we don't really know who we're going to give the last over to. Richardson has been expensive. We can't give it to Stoinis now, so we'll give it to an even slower bowler.
Why can't you give? Vibes can be, while I agree that vibes can be like, oh, this is looking like a tricky pitch or a sticky pitch. I'm getting the vibe that an off spinner will do well. There has to be some logic even
behind the logic. No, vibes can be anything. That's the point. Vibes is very all-encompassing.
Like if I get a vibe, like okay, fine, with no logic. Like if I get a vibe, today seems to be the kind of day that X will do well, or it's just the vibe that I'm getting that Maxwell will pick up a fifer. That sort of a. But for that also there has to be like, if you're gone with another bowler, let's say a Stoinis, I'd still be like, okay, some sort of vibe. But what the hell?
This last over summed up the series for me. Absolutely, Australia just are there to just play. They aren't going to be very serious about it. They don't want to do anything about it. Just go through the motions. At the end, 7 months. Been in India, please let us go home.
Okay, then if that is the case, then don't start with the Richardson. Start saying, okay, Matthew Wade will bowl 1 over, then second over I'll say, okay, ahead, you come and bowl second over.
No, they
third over. If you just don't care, then do that.
They have to show some seriousness, na? It's not playing India.
I mean, lest we forget, last year after the T20 World Cup also, Australia were involved in another series. There was an ODI in T20 series against England.
And England didn't turn up.
England players were openly admitting they'd rather be elsewhere.
Well, I agree if you want to be elsewhere, if that is the mindset, assuming you couldn't care less, and then why are you, as I said, let Wade bowl the first over, then Head comes in for the next over, then give one baby over to somebody.
See, they will get unnecessary criticism.
No, they followed, if that was the thing, then full 19 overs at least it seemed like that. See, they were leaking runs, but it seemed like that you're trying, you're playing regular stuff expected. Just that 1 over, okay, if I go by your logic, they don't care. This World Cup is done and dusted, they don't care about this and they're just going through the motion. And the entire bowling inning should have been like that. Why only in the last over they go in and do something like that? For the rest of the 19 overs, it seemed like you're following the proper game plan.
But it all fell apart after the Tilak Gaikwad partnership.
I agree, but all I'm saying is that they were still doing what you and I would expect them to do, A Hardy is bowling, then you're getting somebody else, like regular bowlers. You're doing the normal things.
But they aren't doing the normal things, and that's why. See,
I don't buy this logic. You have another logic.
Yeah, the only logic.
His logic is they went with vibes. Yeah. His logic is they don't care, but that is not adding up. If they didn't care, they should not be caring for a long part of the inning.
The only reason I feel here is that everyone was expensive. Richardson was very expensive. Glenn Maxwell is someone who's that street smart bowler. He can kind of.
Between Maxwell, Stoinis, who would you bowl at that stage? No brainer for me, Stoinis. He may bowl a few cutters, deceive you.
He'll go for 20.
Ball would have been wet. We told you at the start today it was wet. Off spinner even tougher, yeah. For a finger spinner, if you go in the pecking order in terms of how it gets worse for a bowler, the least one affected is a fast bowler / medium pacer. Then the next one less affected is a wrist spinner, and the most affected is the finger spinner. So you're going with the one the most affected in that situation to bowl. I got with Stoinis, and please tell me he was expensive between Richardson and Maxwell.
See, you
Don't tell me you want to
runs.
choose Maxwell.
Yeah.
This is the only logic I can see in this decision, that why they have actually gave it to Maxwell.
Why are we even looking at logic in a series like this?
No, why at that? A full 19 overs they're playing with logic. The last over they say, okay, let logic be done.
They have to play seriously.
Let's give Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's on 96, did not get a chance to bat in the previous over. Too many deliveries. He must be anxious. He wants to get to his 100. So what do? Okay, Ruturaj, you've been so nice to us. You gave us a biryani treat on the last match or something, whatever. So we'll give you an off spinner. You tonk it for a 6. Be done with your 100, and then just beats logic.
See, your Australian bowlers have conceded over 200 runs in all the 3 games. Okay, so their bowling has just not turned up. The only way how they can have some kind of a face saver is if the batters do well, and if you lose by 10-12 runs, that's only a face saver. Australia lost the series 3-0. They can even go 5-zip, looking at the way how they are performing in Raipur. And if you play in Raipur and Bangalore in the similar way, you are going down final. But at the same point in time, see, fine, Ruturaj got a brilliant century, agreed, great 100.
By the way, on the subject of Ruturaj, Shashwat just turns out to be a day like that. Before we're getting into the program, he had an opinion about Ruturaj Gaikwad before we started the show today. Please share your opinion first.
No, but I changed
What?
it.
First share the original, then change it to what you've changed.
No, I was just talking in comparison of someone like a Jaiswal, Kishan, Surya, that he's a little more suited to the ODI and test format. That is what I felt. But then I corrected myself.
Go give detail. So he said that, listen, Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal should open. So I asked him, why not Ruturaj Gaikwad? He's saying because he's not suited for T20. He is a ODI player. So I said, but he hits a lot of runs in IPL and domestic
As a
cricket
CSK fan, I would have killed you right there.
At a very fast pace. So strike rate is never an issue. But he was not convinced. But now he says he has made a U-turn. What is your U-turn?
No, but before the pre-match show also, I especially went and checked his SMAT strike rate, and I saw it was 173. Then I immediately changed my opinion about that.
What did he do in Vijay Hazare recently?
7 6s.
No, not recently. It was last
Last
Yeah,
year.
that was
Recently,
last year.
meaning
Recently also he's been
in the
quite
recent
good
past.
form.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying 10 years ago he did something, so he's not riding on that. All I'm saying is that he's been.
Simple. In 2021, with 635 runs in the IPL for Chennai Super Kings, Ruturaj Gaikwad is in the consciousness of all Indian fans, be it in the domestic circuit or be it in the IPL. He's undroppable in CSK. When he's injured, their entire top order balance goes awry. Even in Mushtaq Ali, if you look at it, for Maharashtra, you look at Vijay Hazare, how he's done well. He is a guy who can do very well in white ball cricket in the long future, if you're looking at a transition beyond Rohit and Virat in that sense.
Don't forget, he's also captained his stateside multiple times. He's seen as a captain in the waiting for CSK.
Yes, he is a potential captaincy candidate after MS Dhoni goes in 2024. Jadeja burned the bridge with his captaincy, so he's not getting that chance in 25. Ruturaj Gaikwad, he's got age on his side, he will be the captain.
Yeah, and the thing that I really liked about this innings in particular was the way he actually accelerated later on. He was not going at such a strike rate till I think he was at 50, 60.
So there was a reason. I think what they did was when Sky, initially Yashasvi Jaiswal, he takes the aggressor's role and he bides his time, Gaikwad. Then Sky did that, and Ishan also does that. When he saw that when Sky got out, he had to be the guy who would become the enforcer. So then he took that role, and Tilak then could take time, and from there on, if you see, it increased. But all I'm saying is that he has the strokes to have taken his strike rate to 215. And I think his biggest, we've spoken about it in the IPL, if you've seen it a lot, he never seems hurried against fast bowlers and is so good against spinners. The shot of the match today was that 6 that he hit of Sangha, I think. No, extra cover. He hit a 6 there.
Yes.
Sangha. He was actually really going after Sangha. He was just hammering him like every time. In fact, that is what started his, that net run rate, which would have been going like this, just taking 2-3 notches above against the spinner. So against spinners also in murderous form. And that's why I said that when you saw that he was doing so well against a leggy, which would have been tougher for him to face, and hammering him all over the park, you decided to give him an offie. Ye le, apna 100 le le.
No, that's the thing with Gaikwad. He doesn't get faced by whatever bowling comes his way. Phenomenal against fast bowling. But then once he's settled and the spinners come on, dear God, the only person, and again, big comparison, but the only person I remember being this murderous as an opener against spinners, Sehwag. You'd eat them for breakfast. Actually, he'd eat the fast bowlers for breakfast, then have the spinners for dessert. That's what Ruturaj can do on his day.
By the way, before we wind up, the game's going to start. Head is there, back, so everyone's going to be looking forward to his knock after the knock that he played in the semis and then the final. So now the very first time we're seeing him after that. So a lot of interest with, let's see how he goes about and whether the Indian team have analyzed him a bit more after that and tried to find a way of
getting
him out. And just as I say,
he hits the first ball 4.
Although he was not 100% in control of that shot, but gets off with a 4. But the big question: are Australia chasing it down? Good batting lineup though.
No.
Good batting lineup, good batting conditions. The Dew could get worse. I'd say it's not out of the game yet. They're not out of the game yet. No chance.
I have a feel. I don't know who wins, but I have a feeling Australia do go past 200.
Yeah, I think India just holding on to a narrow one. I think that 30 runs made a difference.
Australia is chasing this down.
Ooh, chasing this down wouldn't be. It's not an impossible sort of a total, by the way. On this ground in these conditions, and as the dew comes in, it's going to get tough. Though I will make it a point that one thing that we did see in the Indian innings, which helped Australia, the first 4-5 overs were impossible to face because the ball was doing a lot. It was moving around. The new ball was doing a lot in the east. It tends to do. And so the first few overs, Australia will have to bide their time. If they start thinking about 2-2-2 now only and try and bat like that, they end up losing 3-4 wickets early on. But if they play the first few overs okayish, then they'll get a chance to really get a lot of runs. And I think that's what now Head is trying to do, because it will really move. The ball will really move. It will be not easy to begin with, but let's see how Australia approach.
So I think India just holding on for a win.
Okay, so 3-1. 3 have said India winning. Only Shashwat. 4 have said. Okay, see you on the other side of this innings. Looking forward to. Either way, it's a great contest to watch. Whether the Indian bowlers, do well, or whether Australian batters come to the party. Because if they do, if you're a fan of batsmanship, you're in for a treat.
Yep, indeed.
Okay, bye. Take care. Vanakkam.
Nandri.
Shabba.